Meg, do you want to do the vamping at the beginning?
No.
Great. Your prompt is movie theater. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Spend a lot of time in movie theaters. How about you, Ken?
Oh, go on.
Just me by myself? I don't do this part. This is why CJ's in this part.
What's the
I don't
deal
like
with
vamping.
movie theaters?
Perfect. Hey, welcome to the Overtalking Podcast with your hosts, just me. And we're going to say Meg is the co-host for this one. Say hi, Meg.
Great. Hi, Meg.
This is the show where we talk over TV shows and movies, as typically chosen by our guests. But this week, it's a very special episode. CJ's out of town, and several of our friends and I went to the Music Box of Horrors, which we talk about pretty much every year in the show. For those who don't know, it's a 24-hour horror movie marathon at a local movie theater called the Music Box Theater in Chicago. And typically I go every year and typically stay the whole time, but I did not happen to do that this time, because I am getting older and it's hard, but no shame from anyone on this podcast because no one stayed the whole time and it's all good. But we're going to quickly talk through, some of our favorites from the marathon, but to quickly introduce our guests, we have returning guest Nick. Welcome back.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back.
It's been a little while since you've been on the show.
I think Die Hard last year was the last thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me to talk about this. And we also have Cam, of course. Welcome back, Cameron.
Yeah, whatever. Good to be here. Wait, you still say, when you first started the show, the idea was to actually watch it, right? And talk over it. Yet
that was the initial idea.
Though you don't do any of that, yet in the beginning, you always still say we talk over TV shows and movies.
Well, we talk it over,
all right. Oh, there we go. That makes sense. You do talk it over. Okay,
good recovery. You get to reuse your intro.
That's exactly it.
That's
right.
Perfect.
Yeah. We found it was going to be pretty hard to record and have audio playing for things that we probably don't have licenses for. And I don't know. It also, it's probably easier for people to just listen to us ramble about random crap at any tangent that we want. So
I agree.
Yes. I know you love that, Cam. So, well, thank you everyone for joining. So I think we've all been in the Music Box of Horrors before this one, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
you can't see my thumbs up, right? I forgot it's a radio spot.
This is an audio medium.
So. Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like every year is a little different. I'm just curious, aside from the movies, what was your favorite thing from the marathon this year? There's a bunch of vendors, there's people in weird costumes. I don't know. Can everyone think of maybe something that was your favorite thing? Meg, you want to go first?
Seeing Art the Clown just roaming around was pretty scary. I think that added to a little bit of a immersive experience, I guess, even though they weren't showing Terrifier, but it was pretty fun to see that. I like seeing what everybody wears, just seeing different t-shirts and cool stuff. I really like that. It feels really fun to people watch.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people.
Scary.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He was in the Santa outfit from Terrifier 3 with the creepy Santa face mask. Ugh.
Yeah. It was, and he's, as far as I saw, stayed in character. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. I never saw him speak to anyone. I feel like he was there alone, which is maybe the
I don't know who it was.
It
was pretty great. I kind of avoided him, even though I know that's not really him. I was just I don't want to be
the guy that got a free ticket.
I don't know if he was the one who was looking for tickets or not, because I saw another couple who were wearing a different costume, and I think they were getting the tickets.
Hopefully he drew the line somewhere at staying in character for
I hope so.
5 people were killed last night. Didn't you hear?
No.
I heard a lot of screaming during some of those movies, so I don't know.
They were real.
That was just you, Ken.
It's the perfect place for a murder, though, right? You hear screaming and killing in the movies. So, if you know the movies perfectly, you time it right up.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, I promise.
During, I think it was the last movie, of the marathon that Meg and I were at, the film cut out at one point and they had to repair it. And so it was just kind of silence and black. And the Art the Clown guy honked his horn a couple of times, and it was
Oh my God.
Excellent.
Just to let you know, he was in the crowd
He's
somewhere.
there.
And I was like, oh no.
Did it get a good laugh?
Yeah.
it did. Yeah.
The
That's
crowd was
awesome.
very receptive to it. It was
Did
great.
they
That's
bring the
awesome.
lights up while they were fixing it so you could keep your
No.
eyes on him at all times?
No, we don't know where he was. We just
Oh,
kind of
great.
heard the honking,
Great.
and I was like, oh, is that him? He's still here. Oh no. Yeah.
That's
Scary.
pretty good. Nick, do you have anything else that you kind of like besides the movies?
I thought they majorly upped their food game. I went last, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was pre-COVID. And when we wanted something that wasn't popcorn or candy, we had to like go down the street to a sandwich shop or something like that. And I feel like there was a food truck, there were vendors where they were importing other sandwiches and stuff like that from nearby businesses. And I thought all that was really solid. So I think the food.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's usually the biggest struggle for me. They've had food trucks in the past, but they're like either not well advertised or they were like in the garden area, which like a lot of people don't even know exists or how to get to. So they had a food truck out front. They had food like actually at the concession stand this time too that they had like imported. So yeah, that
There's
made
a
lot of
garden
sense.
area in the back. Actually, I've never seen that part.
Yeah, it's like a little
That's
like
cool.
picnic area. They do little like outdoor movies there sometimes during
I
summer.
got to get to that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've never been to one of those, but they look fun. Nice. Yeah. Cam, do you have any other favorite things?
Oh yeah, it's always the same. Besides the movie, I think the coolest thing about it is that everyone's there to like enjoy horror movies and like watching it with everyone and just like either talking or just laughing with people or just I just love that.
Yeah, I thought
the vibes are immaculate. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I've never been to the very first movie to open it up with, and I never get to hear like the opening speeches and stuff. But Will, the guy who puts on Music Box of Horrors, he was just like, want to mention like we're all here not to look at our phones, right? And everyone's cheering and like, yeah, we're not here to look at our phones, and we also don't like people who make their own jokes in the movies. Like just basically just shut up and watch the movie and be like a good movie watcher. And everyone was really cool about it. I didn't see anybody who was like violating those
Oh,
rules.
I didn't say that last year because I must have missed that part because the guy next to me, I was doing something for work and he's like, "Hey, dude, put your phone away." So never again.
I was
So,
gonna
Yeah,
be
you
like
missed the
everyone
first
except
movie.
I
Cam.
didn't make the
Yeah.
same mistake this year
No, you're very good this year. You're
You were
for
very
the
good.
most part. For the most part.
Yeah. Everyone's really, really great. Even like the guests who were there to screen like their own movies commented on like how well the movies were either received or like people reacted to them in ways that they don't typically react to them. Just because everyone's there to have a good time. And I don't know. Yeah. I think it really amps up and elevates all of these movies to be more
Mhm.
enjoyable than they might be if you were watching them home alone by yourself.
100%.
sure.
That's what I was gonna say is all these movies are better in that environment than they would be at home. Like I probably wouldn't have enjoyed half of what I saw
Mhm.
just sitting at home by myself.
Or
as
I would have
opposed to
peed my
in that.
pants in fear.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah, getting to laugh with the crowd or getting to hear everybody's reactions makes it so much fun that it's really, you can't really replace it.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Meg, you kind of had a good segue there about the first movie. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back to talk about more movies specifically that happened at the Music Box of Horrors 2024. And we're back on the Overtalking Podcast, joined by Meg, Nick, and Cam to talk about 2024's Music Box of Horrors. But yeah, I'm just going to say I always stay the whole time. I am so sad that I couldn't make it the whole way. And I think I know what may have contributed to it. I didn't get to drink my Magic Mind that morning. I swear to God, I think that might have been it. I stayed downtown the night before to get a better seat in line because that's the only way you can like get good seats because people line up super early. And I didn't bring my Magic Mind with me, and I should have. But that's the mental performance shot that CJ and I have been drinking for several months now. It's got a little bit of caffeine. It's got a little bit of matcha. Got a little bit of nootropics. Got a bunch of different things in there that helps boost my mental performance throughout the day. And I think it might have been the little bit of kick that I was missing that day to help give me the energy to stay the whole time. And it's one of the nice things that we've been talking about it lately is that it can be a subscription that is shipped to your door every month. And that's what CJ and I do. We pop it in the fridge and then it's just there every morning. We drink it along with our coffee and it gives us the energy and focus we need to get through our day. And I didn't have it that day. And that's why I couldn't make it, but we love it. Our listeners can get 20% off a subscription by using code OvertalkingPod20 at checkout. That's OvertalkingPod20 at checkout using that code or by going to magicmind.com/overtalkingpod20. And be sure to use that code at checkout to get 20% off your subscription of Magic Mind. We love it. Check it out. All right. Well, let's get back to the marathon. Meg knows I drink Magic Mind every morning. Can you confirm, Meg?
Every morning. He's got to have his Magic Mind.
It's so good.
Do you like Magic Mind?
I do like it. Yes. Yeah. The more you drink it, the more effects it has on your focus too. And I genuinely feel like it's helped me. That's not
awesome.
Bullshit. I swear to God.
Yeah. Some mornings he'll be like extra dragging and he'll be like, oh my God, I didn't even drink my Magic Mind today. And it's just like, oh, all right, cool. So it's
Does it make your head bigger?
No, it does not make your head bigger.
Okay, that's good enough.
All right. Let's move on. The less disclaimers I have to do. All right, so let's get to the movies. Make your head bigger. Yeah. So, like Meg mentioned before, Will Morris is one of the people who programs this every year, and he came on and introduced the first movie, which was a silent film called Suspense. Meg and Cam were here for this one right at the beginning, and it actually had a live score by someone named Max McCarthy, and it also had Molly Rife there playing the cello, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's the quick synopsis for that. Abandoned by her maidservant in an isolated country house, a mother must protect herself and her baby from an invading tramp while her husband races home in a stolen car to save them. It's a pretty good summary.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about as long as the film was. So that's,
it's a 10-minute film. In past years, the silent film has been like almost 2 hours and like is really tough, even with the live score, to sit through that. So this year they chose a super short one.
Dang, I didn't know that. I actually loved that. I could talk about it. Is that all right?
Yeah,
that's what I did. Yeah,
I think it's so cool. Like the live music part, I missed the past few years, so I'm excited about it. I was actually disappointed to see how short it was because I thought it's like, oh man, like I don't know, like did that a silent movie, like did it have an original like music audio to it that they didn't use and that we listened to, or is the movie just silent?
It's
no,
just
that's how they used to
silent.
do it back in the days. They just had an organist that worked for the movie theater, and they would play during the movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Was there an organist that played during that movie? Would you say like there was an original music portion of it?
I mean, but it would be a person live. It would be a person live in the theater.
Yeah, it wouldn't be recording. I got
so it'd be different every time. Yeah.
I didn't know if they had like someone could write the music to it, right? But I just think it's cool that like they took it and then like kind of made it what they want, and I think it's cool how like I would love to see that done by someone else and just see how different or better or worse it'd be because I thought that was really cool.
It was cool. There was a couple moments. I think like when you first see the tramp like looking around in the house and the cello comes in and it's like a real jolting noise, and I saw a bunch of people jump from that just because it was like the cello hadn't really been playing that that loudly or that sharp. And yeah, it got a bunch of people, and that was really, really fun.
I
Oh yeah,
really
you're
liked.
waiting. Oh,
Mhm.
sorry.
There were a
We're
couple.
over talking here, right?
This is the point. It's okay.
Yeah.
There were a couple people sitting in front of us who like were very jumpy, and I
Mhm.
appreciated having them there as someone who's
Yep.
so jaded to horror movies at this point. To be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm glad that people are actually finding this scary. That's good.
Yeah, I think it was cool.
was
They played
good.
those same two notes for a while, and then the cello comes in, not expecting when it was even going to come in. My favorite
Yeah.
two parts were when the guy got hit by the car, and then when the guy whose car he stole, he just apologizes at the end because he realized, oh, you were trying to get to your wife.
Yeah.
Everyone's very understanding in this movie. It feels
They
like.
were so nice. Guy steals a car to go home to save his wife, hits someone at like top speed. The guy who's just like, oh, no big deal. It's
Brush it
fine.
off.
Walks away. And then the cops finally catch up to the man who stole the car. And when they saw, oh, it's because another man was in his house, and he's like, oh, okay, you're not in trouble for stealing that car anymore.
I was hoping for a little
good.
death though, like at least one death and like some like squirting blood, but we didn't get any of that, did we?
Nothing
No.
like that.
Not in
Too early. They
1913.
they didn't even know what horror films were.
Yeah.
So
So
we did see where The Shining got its axe through the door inspiration. That's where it came from, I guess, is what
Yeah.
Will mentioned before the movie. That a lot
Oh,
of
really?
inspiration
That's
from
cool.
Stanley Kubrick came from that. Yeah.
yeah, he called this a proto slasher. So like
Mm.
before the slasher was like a genre or a subgenre of horror, this was like one of the things that people point to as like something that inspired that. And I thought that's kind of where they went with the score for the live performance. The Max McGathy got on stage and explained that he wanted it to feel like if John Carpenter had like a Halloween-ish score for this, and that's like exactly what it felt like. It was pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah.
So it was similar. You'd say. I was wondering. I didn't know what his John Carpenter stuff sound like. So you'd say that he did it justice.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, kind of repeating
That's cool.
a couple
It
notes.
was very
over and over.
Halloween. Yeah, it was good.
All right, we got to move on. Otherwise, we're going to be here forever. So
You
that's
do
suspense.
ratings?
Real quick ratings. I'm going to give it out of 10. Right? That's what I do. I'm going to do 8
Yep.
out of 10 for me. Meg?
This is your show, right, Ken?
Yes.
It is. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
I'm right in between 7.
Okay, perfect. Moving on. The next movie was 1946, The Spiral Staircase. Here's the really quick synopsis. On a stormy night, the mute servant to an ailing matriarch is stalked by a serial killer. Meg, what'd you think of this one?
I really liked this one. Probably one of the most badass female characters in the matriarch. She was awesome. She was in bed for most of it. Her 2 sons were taking over her mansion. She had all of these people working for her, but yeah, she just kind of spoke her mind and was super badass, and I loved her. Main character did not speak the whole time, and it was interesting to watch her try to like communicate with everybody. And I think they just mostly talked at her, and she just like nodded along. It was fine. But yeah, I actually thought this was really, really good, and I would watch it again. It was definitely suspenseful, definitely a thriller. I guess kind of a whodunit because there's a few suspects in it. But yeah, it was really, really good.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it too. There were some unique characters, and one of them was like kind of a womanizer. The brother of the main guy, I guess, is the way I would describe it.
I thought he had done it. I thought it was straightforward, open shut case.
Well, the guy I'm referring to walks into a room and sees a woman crying and says, "Oh, I love seeing when a woman cries because it makes me feel more powerful than them," or something like that.
He
Like,
was
just
such
straight
a
up says that.
sleazeball.
Yeah.
He was super creepy. He was the step brother. The 2 brothers, they were step brothers, and yeah, he kept trying to get the attention of this one server woman, and just kept like would play the piano and be like, Blanche, if you don't come over here, I'm gonna keep singing. And she was like trying to do her work. She's like, dude, stop. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna leave you alone until you give me what I want. He was a super creep. He played it very, very well. He was real slimy. Loved it.
Yeah. Cam, any other thoughts?
Oh, I got emotional at the end when she finally said some words. Remember that part at all? I was like, oh, no way. So that was awesome. I thought I could do without like 20 minutes of it probably. Like I did enjoy it, but I think there was just like they could have cut it a little shorter. But I love those like, I don't know, between 40s and 60s time frame horror movies. I just think they're cool. I enjoyed it. The Doctor, what a hunk he was. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, we got to
Such
see
a
a
hunk.
few of those kind of era of movies during this marathon. I feel like there were
Yeah,
a
I
lot more
loved
older
it.
movies than there usually are, and I really enjoyed that too.
I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
All right, quick roundtable. For me, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Meg,
7 out of 10 for me as well.
Cam.
I'm at a 6.
Okay, cool. Next up is The Crazies, 1973, George A. Romero. The military attempts to contain a man-made combat virus that causes death and permanent insanity in those infected as it overtakes a small Pennsylvania town. Cam, what were your initial thoughts about this movie? Was it what you thought it was going to be?
I was expecting like gore, like when he said it was like whoa, they kind of go far in this one. I'm thinking like crazy deaths and like, you know, just blood everywhere. But the plot, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what it was. Was it a virus or a bacteria, or I don't even know that. But I mean, it kept my attention, so I did enjoy it. And I think was that one that had some funny zings in it. I can't remember, but they're all enjoyable to watch. Again, with the group, I just find it funny, and yeah, I had no clue what was going on, and I was just trying to figure that out. And I don't think I did, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Meg, what did you expect this movie was going to be, and then what do you think it was instead?
I completely agree with Cam. We were told it goes a little far, and I was like, okay, I'm ready for some gore. I can take it. Like, we've been here long enough that they should bring on something a little more intense. It definitely did not line up to what I had in my head. I don't think anyone really went crazy in it. They were just kind of acting a bit silly, a bit goofy. Maybe like they all got laced with drugs or something like LSD or something. They were just kind of being kind of silly a little bit.
And just decided to throw in incest, you know, sprinkle that in a little.
Yeah, a little bit of incest, a little bit of the very first guy, I think, tries to murder his whole family and burns his house down.
So that opening scene, scene is what I was like, yeah, okay, great. This is what we're going to see. Like, this guy's clearly gone mad. But then that never
like crazy
happened again. Yeah.
That's right.
They just,
I thought all of them would.
I thought they all would kind of start to like go on murderous rampages or something like that.
I would have loved that. Like, it kept getting crazier and crazier.
Right, because when it starts off on that note, you're like, okay, now I know what I'm in for. But yeah, I think the one lady character who was the daughter who ended up getting raped by her dad. Spoiler. That was the part, I guess, that we were warned that it went too far on. Yeah. And
Nick, you don't have to watch it anymore. You know what happens.
Sorry, Nick. I don't know.
I was a little bummed that I didn't get to see this one, so I assume this doesn't stack up to his zombie movies then.
Ew, Nick, you're bummed you didn't get to see someone get raped by their dad? Come on. Jesus Christ. No, it didn't. For me, at least, it didn't hold up to what I thought it was going to be. This was remade in the 20 knots, I think. I don't remember exactly when, but and I saw that, or at least parts of it, on like AMC Fear Fest, and I thought that was kind of more of a straightforward movie. But this original The Crazies, half of it was like a military drama, or like explaining that like the military doesn't always have its shit together, and it's kind of a haphazard of miscommunication and
just the mishandling of an outbreak from the military's perspective. is what it mostly felt like. And then it dipped
Yeah.
into like what the main characters were doing to avoid the crazies or try to get out of the military's like lockdown.
Right.
But yeah, it definitely did not live up to what I thought it was going to be at all. I was expecting
Bad.
some gore. I was
I
expecting
wanted
more.
gore. Like
I
that's what I
know.
wanted.
I know. I
Yeah,
did too.
Your mileage may vary. I know other people who do really like this. But for me, I was pretty tired and was falling asleep during certain parts just because I was overwhelmed with all of the military quick talk back and forth. So
Yeah.
um,
But I mean, I think when you're like, this is a George A. Romero film, you kind of expect a certain level of gore, I guess, or just like a
Oh,
certain
is that what
something.
he's known for? Is that what he's known for?
He did Night of the Living Dead, right? Is
Mhm.
that am I
Yeah.
correct
all
in
of
that?
the of
All
the
of
dead
Yeah.
those,
movies.
So
Yeah.
zombie films, like I'm expecting something like that, but it wasn't there. It was fine. It was just a little too long, a little too focused on the military that I got bored.
Yeah. All right, quick round the table, Meg. What would you give this movie out of 10?
I gave it a 5.
Cam?
Romero, more like Bormero. I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, I'll go to 4 too. All right, moving on.
Wow.
Meg, this is where you dipped out, I believe. Is that correct?
Yep. I bounced.
All right, you bounced and subbed in is Nick.
That's right.
You get to talk
Almost.
now, Nick. Sorry, Nick, for sitting there, but
That's okay.
almost right because you missed or you only caught maybe part of the short. No, you totally missed.
I didn't
short.
see any of the short at all. I saw the movie that came after it.
Okay, so before the next movie, they showed a short. It's a 1983 short that you can find on YouTube called "Possibly in Michigan." And a masked man stalks a woman through a shopping mall and follows her home. And in the end, their roles are reversed, where the heroine deposits a mysterious hefty bag at the curb. That's a horrible explanation for what happens, but everyone kind of like is sing-songy talking to each other during this. And I actually recognized it almost immediately from TikToks that were going around earlier this year. And I think that's what Will, the kind of curator, was explaining that brought it back into the zeitgeist because this is a 1983 short. And yeah, it's got this really creepy, like sing-songy dialogue that goes on during this. I don't know how else to explain it. Cam, can you do any better than me?
It was a short that wasn't short enough. That's what I'd say.
Oh, shots fired.
It was. I took it as like that like new age like form of art where people just like get naked, pour SpaghettiOs on them, and like say they're like doing God's work and like really thinking. Like I just thought it was not well put together in a.
Is that a separate movie festival or what is that?
Yeah.
How do we get into that?
Where do we find that film?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go straight away. I gave it a 0 out of 10. It was bad.
Wow.
I wouldn't even call it a movie, a short, or whatever you want to call it. It was a waste of my time.
Oh man, I thought it was creepy. There's this creepy like masked guy who has his mouth open, following him around, and I like the sing-songy thing. Just because I know from the TikToks. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Oh crap!
Wow.
All right.
You guys trying to describe this one to me when I first showed up, what just I mean,
yeah, we didn't do a good job.
Was not helpful at all.
So. Yeah. Go watch it. You can find it on YouTube. It's just out there. Possibly in Michigan. All right. But then, Nick, you finally then did enter the theater.
Then I arrived.
You arrived just in time for, oh boy, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this correctly.
The best.
Zibakana? Or the English title is Hell's Ground.
Yep.
And the quick synopsis of Hell's Ground is, well, maybe not that quick. In the spirit of EC horror comics of old, the film tells the story of 5 teens who get lost on their way to a rock concert, are menaced by a flesh-eating mutation, and then fall into the clutches of a family of backwoods killers. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, this is a movie that is part English, part Urdu is the language.
Yep.
I think it's a Pakistani film, is what he said.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen any Pakistani film previously. I can't think of any. So yeah, anyway, this is kind of a new experience for me. And yeah, I thought it was really interesting how the teens in this movie kind of more often talk to each other in English. And they also like changed into more American garb at one point too, when they're like sneaking away from their family to go to a rock concert. And I thought that kind of culture idea was interesting. I don't really know much about this. I'm not going to speak more on it because I'm going to make a fool of myself. But yeah, anyway, I thought this was interesting. I couldn't tell during the movie if it was bad at parts or if it was intentionally bad. But either way, it was funny to see with an audience, and that's what all I got to say on it. Nick, what do you think?
Bad acting or bad what?
Bad like writing. Like there were like really obvious cliche tropes. Like at one point, the main girl is with the guy, and the guy's like, "So we're alone," but like their diseased friend and everyone else is missing, and I don't know, it's really weird.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad coming like show up and first thing, but like this was my least favorite of everything we saw. I thought it was kind of a mess. Like they couldn't decide what horror element they wanted to use. Like I feel like it had every monster you could possibly conceive of. It had like the like Evil Dead style, like the camera is the monster coming towards you, but then there's also the road has like zombies all over it, and then they pick up a guy that's like, I'm going to suck all the blood out of you, and then there's like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre like slasher style thing, and almost none of it like fully resolves except for the Texas Chainsaw thing at the end. So I was just kind of confused of like what is the monster here? What's the bad guy?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I think you said at the beginning, it's a blender of all of them. And my thought would be like, hey, Pakistan hasn't seen like horror movies like that, so we're gonna put every damn thing that American does in horror films into that film. And I, for whatever reason, I thought it was that typical one, like, oh man, we should break up. And I love those like typical horror movie tropes in there. And I just enjoyed the whole thing, laughing through it. It was awesome.
Yeah, I remember laughing through it too. I'm going to give it.
It was
for
funny.
Me, it was funny to watch with an audience. I don't know if I was watching it at home alone, I would find it even remotely watchable. I think is maybe where the differentiation there. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 for me. Nick, what would you rate this?
4 out of 10.
Okay, Cam.
A solid 8.
8.
There's some of the ones like, even though the next one we'll talk about, like I was like, is this going to continue going on? This one, I was like, give me more.
Okay. All right. Nice. Well, yeah. Then next up was 1963's The Haunted Palace, and which was preceded by a Roger Corman tribute who died earlier this year, who made a lot of these older 60s, 50s horror movies for cheap. But this had Vincent Price in it, one of 2 Vincent Price movies, at least that I saw in this festival. And the quick synopsis is: a warlock burned at the stake comes back and takes over the body of his great-grandson to take his revenge on the descendants of the villages that burned him. It's Vincent Price playing the original warlock, and then Vincent Price playing the great-grandson. And it's the Vincent Price show pretty much for this movie. But, I really enjoyed it. Cam, what did you think of this?
I wanted to enjoy this one. Like I thought it would be better. I don't know. I was looking for it to be better though. For whatever reason, I know it was low budget. You can clearly tell like everything that was made was a set and not like actually at a place. So for whatever reason, that like made it weird for me, even though it shouldn't. But I kind of snoozed off during it, but it wasn't awful.
What'd you think, Nick?
I really liked this one. I thought the possession thing and the Vincent Price show of it all really worked for me. It turned out that it's based on a H.P. Lovecraft novella, I think. which I thought was really neat. Like I only know H.P. Lovecraft stuff like tangentially through stories like this. I've never read any of his actual stuff. But I really enjoyed this one a lot more than I expected, actually.
Yeah, I am more on the side of Nick. Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting intersection of Roger Corman, Vincent Price, Edgar Allan Poe. I think it was based on his story, but H.P. Lovecraft also had some elements, or maybe it was a cross of multiple things.
I know. I think it was Edgar Allan Poe. The name sounded like it, Edgar Allan Poe like movie, but I thought it was Lovecraft story. No.
Yeah, so I did look it up. You're not doing a trivia for this, I assume.
No. Yeah.
Okay. So I looked it up, and it did say based on an Edgar Allan Poe poem and an H.P. Lovecraft story.
Okay.
The Edgar Allan Poe poem, it's not. There's no element in it, but the narrator says part of the poem at the beginning. And Vincent Price recites another part of the poem at the end, but there's no actual story elements that are about that. But it is much more based off the H.P. Lovecraft story.
Gotcha. Okay. So they just wanted to throw another big name to be on a title card, basically.
Yeah, basically. Corman did a lot of actual Edgar Allan Poe movies. Like there is a Raven and Cask of Amontillado and stuff like that. So I'm guessing it's just to go along with the Corman theme of doing Poe stories.
Gotcha.
More brand recognition.
Yeah, makes sense. I don't have much more to say on this. I thought it was an enjoyable story that moved at a decent pace for me. I'm always down for a Vincent Price movie, and I've probably seen other Roger Corman movies, but I can't think of any. But so this might have been my first. I'm not sure. But I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 for me. I really enjoyed it. This was the kind of perfect spooky October movie for me. Maybe Cam, you go next.
A high note of 4 for me.
Okay. Nick?
Okay. It was an 8 out of 10 for me too. I think that was my first Corman movie as well, and I really liked it.
Nice. Cool. All right. And then next up, Cam, you only saw part of this, but you should have stuck around because
I literally only laughed because I was like falling asleep because I was so tired. Mm-hmm. But it was, I loved everything that I saw during it. I'll tell you that. Okay. You'll have to spoil the end for me though, because I want to know.
I'll tell you after because I want to do it on the show. But next up was 1990s Prom Night 3, The Last Kiss. And I had not seen Prom Night 1 or 2. I don't think any of us have, right?
No, this is my first entry in the Prom Night universe.
So the quick synopsis is Mary Lou, the prom queen burned to death by her boyfriend back in the 50s, has escaped from hell and is once again walking the hallways of Hamilton High School looking for blood. And that is missing a major part of the plot where she becomes the sexual haunting of one of the high school boys and is like his girlfriend who is helping him become less average. It's like straight up a comedy. It's like just a comedy. I mean, people get killed, but it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. At least maybe with an audience, but like I think even at home, there's major jokes in there that are like just hilarious. I don't know. I loved it so much. Cam, from the little bit you saw, what did you think?
Oh, it was absolutely hilarious. Like it must have been 90s, right? Because like it screamed like 90s. It screamed like a 90s movie to me, and it was like, to me, I probably had a low budget, but it seemed like a well put together like movie. I enjoyed it thoroughly, from the killings to the humor. Like I was consistently laughing. I think it's always better like when you're laughing with people too. So I have nothing but good things to say about it. I think I did like it. Was the guy who wrote it like or directed it there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the writer and director was there.
I think I was like I really liked this one, and I wanted to see the first two. I believe he actually wrote the second and third one, right? But in no way were they supposed to have any connection to the first one, actually. But they decided to pick it up, and I think I don't know if there is a connection, but I enjoyed it from what I saw, and I'm disappointed I left early.
Yeah, it was pretty great. You'll have to finish it on your own sometime, Cam.
That sounds good. I'll do that for sure.
Nick, what'd you think?
Yeah, 100% on board. I thought it was hilarious. It set the tone perfectly when one of the first kills was somebody's hands getting stabbed with ice cream cones.
Yeah.
That is a real thing that happened in that, and probably not even the weirdest thing that happened in that movie. It was hilarious. It was well done. It wasn't scary in any conventional means. It was just really fun. Yeah, good time.
Yeah, there were so many jokes throughout it. I think one of my favorite parts was just like randomly you would hear like an intercom announcement in the high school.
Oh, those were amazing.
Can you think of it? I can't think of any.
Oh dang, there was one I really liked. Like, it said come to crap. Like, no, man.
I think one was like Auto Club is canceled today due to an accident.
Oh, play with yourself. Remember that one?
The chess club
tournament
is
canceled. You could play with yourself in the library. Yeah, that was funny. Were they all like that? They're all like that.
They're all pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think when one of the teachers gets killed, it's like, hey, science class is canceled for today and the memorial is in the afternoon or something like that. I don't know. Really good. All right. I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I freaking loved it. Cam, do you want to throw a rating on for the part you saw?
Oh, yeah. It was like 8.5 while I was there. Like I said, I only went because I knew I'd crash if I did it.
And Nick?
7 out of 10.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Cool. All right, and then just the boys, Nick and me for the last movie here.
Where we both threw in the towel.
Yeah, we threw in the towel. We'll get to that in a second. But this next movie was 2016's The Alchemist Cookbook, and we also had the writer-director in attendance for that as well. And The Alchemist Cookbook is about a self-made chemist, Sean, a recluse living in an old trailer in the woods, suffers from pill-popping delusions of fortune. When his manic attempts at cracking the ancient secret of alchemy go awry, he unleashes something far more sinister and dangerous. And I don't think this is a spoiler, but he's basically trying to make a deal with a literal demon in the woods to get gold, I think. Literal gold, I assume. I don't know, man. This dude was like literally crazy because he was missing his pills for most of the movie. So yeah, there's basically like 2 different reads on the movie, and I guess it's up to you to decide which one's real. But yeah, he's doing alchemy to make gold, and he's going to make a deal with the devil to make gold. But on the flip side, he could be just has a severe mental illness, and he's actually out in a trailer cooking meth for he and his brother, and then doesn't get his pills, so it gets progressively worse. Yeah. There's 2 reads. That's basically it.
Yeah. So I don't know about you. I didn't like this movie, but I can't stop thinking about it for the life of me. I don't know what it was technically well made. There are definitely like unsettling and well done parts of it. I thought the main actor, who is only one of 2 actors in the whole film, he did a really good job. It just, the whole thing did not hang together for me very well. I was mostly bored, and I didn't care for it.
Yeah, for me, the pacing was probably the biggest hardship for this movie. It was really slow at parts. And again, there's only 2 people and mainly just 1 person in this movie. And so that's difficult to run the whole movie that way and keep your interest. But I agree. I think there's like a lot more memorable moments from this movie than there were for a lot of the other ones for me. Mm-hmm. Like there's some really compelling imagery and really creepy shots and moments in this movie that I definitely won't be forgetting anytime soon. So that's a really good point.
Yeah, I wanted to discard this movie right away because it immediately ended. I was like, thank God it's over. I did not like that. And then the last 24 hours, I I keep running the whole movie through my head. Like
Huh.
so I mean there's something that's got some sticking power in it. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah. Well, that's all I can talk about. That I don't know. I don't have anything more to say than there's some creepy shots in this. It's a creepy idea. Yeah. It goes to interesting places, and if you want to check it out, it's probably worthwhile. But it's definitely not my favorite. But yeah, there's some interesting and unique ideas and images explored in this movie. But for me, I'm giving it a 4. Nick?
4 for me too. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, and then everyone on this podcast was no longer at the Music Box of Horrors because the next movie was Jaws, and I think all of us have seen Jaws, if not once, more than once. It's one of my favorite movies, but I've seen it at the Music Box before. Right? That's the fish one.
I think it has the shark.
It's the fish one. Okay, yeah. Got
it. Yeah, for me, Jaws doesn't feel like a Music Box of Horrors movie. It feels like a summer movie for me, but I don't know. I was tired. I didn't sleep great the night before, and I was like, that's a perfect excuse to go home and get a little bit of sleep and come back in the morning. And that's just what Meg and I did. So, Meg, we came back at 8 a.m.
We did. We're
recording this the day of that, by the way. So this is all super fresh. Meg, what was the movie we saw at 8:20 a.m.?
That was the one I was the most excited for, even though I've seen it once, maybe twice. Poltergeist. That was, I felt like a great way to start my day off to watch that. Never seen it live in the theater, let alone on a 35 millimeter print. It was awesome. It was so good. It was just as scary as I remembered when I was a kid and saw it way too young, and it was the first movie that ever scared me. Still holds up. Amazing.
Yeah, it was really it's just a great movie. I hadn't seen it in forever, but this is one of the earliest movies I remember actually scaring me. I remember literally, I have a vivid image in my mind of me watching it alone in the dark in my family room when I was younger, and one scene coming on and me literally screaming out loud, full volume for like a full minute.
Was it the tree?
No, it was the clown.
The clown? Okay, yeah. It was either the tree or the clown was the worst. As a kid, it was very, very, very scary to see.
I hadn't seen anything like that before, where they like actually play into like your deepest fears of like a toy in your room comes to life and is like hiding and like attacking you and drags you under the bed. Like, oh my God.
First of all, that kid clearly did not like that clown doll from the beginning, like that life size clown doll. Kept avoiding it, throwing sheets over its head and stuff. Why did they have it? Like, why keep it and always set it up in a chair facing them while they slept? Like, have a creepier toy haunt you every single night. It was awful.
Maybe they like it during the daytime, and then they
I don't know, man. The thing was really creepy. That definitely set off my fear of clowns as a kid. I did not like that thing.
Is that the origin?
That is that, and the episode of what was it?
Zebo the clown from
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Are You Afraid of the Dark? Thank you. I kept just thinking dark. Yeah, that and Are You Afraid of Dark episode is what launched that fear, which I'm pretty much over now because, I sat in a movie theater with Art the Clown and survived. But
I hate clowns to this day.
They're just very creepy. So
I agree.
Yeah. But it was really fun. There was a lot of scenes that I didn't remember in that film. And it was actually a lot funnier than I remembered too. There were some really good, funny moments.
Yeah, you caught a couple things with the oldest daughter.
Yeah. She was a 16-year-old daughter who basically was there but didn't experience any of the ghost or poltergeist or any she didn't experience any of that. She just ate cereal, went to school, hung out with her friends, and then came back at the end with a huge hickey on her neck. And there
I missed, guys.
Yeah, and there was something where they're like, we're staying at a hotel tonight. And she's like, oh, yeah, I know that one. It's like, you're 16 years old. What the hell? So that was really good. She was pretty funny. Craig T. Nelson was awesome. Obviously, he was great in it. But yeah, a couple scenes I thought could have been a little bit shorter. That kind of dragged on for a little bit, but really good, really spooky. Still very successful moments in there. Some good. I don't know. Was it CGI? What was it at that point? How did that house? How did it end?
I don't know how they did some of these shots. I don't
know how they did it.
I don't feel like a lot of it was CGI. It was
The chair
incredible
thing.
though.
Yeah, there was some really cool stuff.
Yeah, 1982. So I don't know, but yeah, I don't have much more to say on it other than it really holds up. And if you're looking for something really good to watch, that's still scary, but is a classic. Poltergeist is the one. I'm going to give this a full 10 out of 10 for me.
Holy shit! I gotta see this.
Yeah,
I'm coming over to watch it sometime. You know.
Okay.
You should. Don't watch it alone, Cam. It's too scary.
I can't do that.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't be able to watch that alone. I don't think.
No, I can't do it.
You can come over anytime.
Yeah.
I gave it a 9 out of 10. I don't know why not a full 10. Just maybe because some of the scenes dragged on a little bit. But yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah, it was
dang, a 10 out of 10. Is Hell House LLC a 10 out of 10 for you guys then?
Yes, it is.
That is for me, absolutely. Yes.
Then this must be really good.
Yeah, it's good for different reasons for me, but all right, and then we finally got to the last movie, and I know this is running a little hot, so we'll try to go through it quickly. But the last movie shown at 10:30 a.m. was a 1963 movie called The Comedy of Terrors. Also, this is the other Vincent Price movie. An undertaker who hasn't had any customers in a long time is forced to pay 1 year's back rent. To get money, he starts to kill people, which brings absurd results. This was just fine for me, honestly.
I agree. Yeah.
It wasn't over the top funny, although there were some moments that I was laugh out loud, like, cackling at. But in general, it was just fine. It didn't hit super hard. I don't have much more to say on that, other than it had Peter Lorre and Boris Karloff also in it, which was pretty cool. But yeah, Meg,
yeah,
anything else?
I agree. No, there was definitely time. I think they said it was meant to be a kids movie.
They meant to market it to kids. I don't know how that would have worked. But...
Yeah, it was rated G, but it was meant for kids. And when kids watched it, they were like, "I do not get this," which makes total sense because how would you? And it was pretty dark for a kids film. The guy's like murdering people to try to bury them for money. But yeah, not my favorite Vincent Price film, but still quite enjoyable because of the cast. Some really good little goofs in there.
Yeah.
Definitely worth a watch if you're feeling like it. But for the name Comedy of Terrors, I thought it would be like way funnier or way more slapstick, I guess, but it wasn't quite there.
Yeah. All right.
Do you think
well,
it was
for me,
any kind of an issue, like in a programming problem, like you just watched the masterpiece that is Poltergeist and then watch that?
Maybe.
Well, I was really looking for, because I think they always seem to end the marathon on a lighter note. Like 1 year was Ernest Scared Stupid, which was so
right?
fun. And
yeah,
one
they
was
always
Casper,
do like something targeted to younger audiences, and typically a comedy.
Yeah. So I knew that was coming, but it just it just didn't quite land. I think I had high hopes because of it being a Vincent Price film, but I think the first half of it, I was like, when's this going to get funny? And then it hit a good stride. Yeah, first time seeing it. But it was good. And honestly, at that point, I think we were just like, okay, I want to go home and take
I was
a
still
nap.
tired,
I'm really tired.
honestly. I was like,
how did you get home yesterday, Ken?
I Ubered home.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Rating.
Meg?
Rating.
I gave it a 6 out of 10.
I also gave it a 6 out of 10. And that's it. So we skipped a couple movies. We missed Elevator, The Bottled Fools. I kind of want to see that. I don't know what it is. Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. I have seen that before. And Nightmare, a.k.a. Nightmares from a Damaged Brain, which Meg and I saw the last 5 minutes of it through the window into the theater. And
Rate it.
Based on Based on that alone, yeah, I would actually really want to see the whole
kinda wanna
movie
see
because
that
that
too.
was a
that's awesome.
crazy ending.
Yeah.
It looked really, really good.
Yeah, but I heard people
That's
complaining
cool.
that they were too tired to enjoy it. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel about most of the back half of these marathons, and that's why I went home this time to sleep. So,
Do you think you enjoyed the last back half a little bit better because you went home and slept?
I probably would have not have rated Poltergeist as high if I was completely sleep deprived. Because at that point, typically, I am just counting the minutes until it's over. So
That's
which is not great, right? Like I want to be able to enjoy the movies, and yeah, coming back somewhat more fresh in the morning was the way to go, at least for this year. I can always follow up and watch those other movies another time. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode of the Overtalking Podcast. Next week, tune in while Meg and I, it's just Meg and I again, and we're going to be talking about all of the movies besides these that we watched in October.
Miss you, CJ.
We miss you, CJ. Please come back soon. But until then, this is what I do. I only talk about horror movies. So Meg and I watched a horror movie every single day in October,
Change the
and we're
name
just going to
of the
quickly
show.
talk about it. But yeah,
Over
if you like the show,
horror.
please tell other people. Spread the word. You can find us at Overtalking Pod on everything. Call or text us at USACat 1591.
We spending no monies.
We spend no money in advertising. So if you like the show, please tell a friend and spread the word. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you. And drink your magic mind. Thank you, Cam, Nick, and Meg, for joining me. Do any of you have any words of wisdom to end the show here?
I
love
missed
it good.
the Overtalking Overlords. Where are they?
Oh, they came and left really quick, but they're really tired.
They're a
now.
bunch of
Okay, are they not
whores.
canon anymore? Or?
They're still canon. They do typically
Like-
show up at the end of every episode or remind me to remind you to do all the things I already said. So
They're probably with CJ taking the week
they're
off
taking
right
a
now.
little siesta. Yeah.
I just assumed if they're going to come out at any time, it would be in October. But
Well,
You know,
it's
they
November
don't
now.
like when you,
so.
they don't like when you put a label on them, so they
when
like to
you
keep
point
it.
it out, yeah.
Yeah, they want to keep it spooky, keep it a surprise. That's fine.
Yeah.
I guess the guests should just keep their thoughts and opinions to themselves. Then that's fine.
That's right.
No, you're
Continue.
good.
yeah.
No, yeah, this was a lot of fun. Another one in the books, and everybody go watch us a
Drink.
movie off of this list.
That's
Yeah,
right.
drink your milk mind.
Magic
Milk
mind.
Main.
And as we always say at the end of every single episode, I like watching women cry. Isn't that what the guy said? Something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
No notes.
This episode of the Overtalking Podcast was edited and produced by Ken. This week's special guests were me, Cam, and Nick. Music by Justin Peters. Logo by Nate Richards. Check out Nate's work on Instagram at Nate Richards Designs.